Hi there, and thanks for listening to the Adulting is Easy podcast, where we make adulting easier by making money easier. This is your host, Lauren, and I'm joined today by Jenny, my 20-year-old sister. She just finished her fifth semester at the University of Florida, where she is majoring in mechanical engineering. Welcome back, Jenny.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here.
You look happy to be here.
I'm excited to be back once a year.
Once a year, that's all I can get from you.
Yep, that's it. Well, I'm very busy.
Our goal for today is to recap how we made adulting easier for listeners during 2023, our fourth full year of the podcast. I'm going to tell everybody about who our listeners are, how many there are first, but then we'll get into the topics that we covered. I'm also going to tell you along the way which five were the most popular as we go. You'll notice a renumbering of episodes, everybody. By the way, I took out the Wealth Wednesday Twitter spaces this year, so you'll notice a renumbering from last year. Also, big news. I formed a company with my friend Alan Corey. It's called House Money Media. We are a real estate education company with personality. Our mission is to launch first generation real estate investors. FYI. So go to housemoneymedia.com if you want to know more about that. There's also a podcast over there if you can't get enough of my voice.
All right, so now we're going to break down the demographics of the podcast, who's listening and where. So for our audience, it more than doubled this year, getting more than 2,000 listens per month and almost 40,000 in total.
So it doubles. So it's like doubled every year. So good job, everybody. Tell your friends.
Yeah, that's impressive. So about the listeners, so to break down by country, we got 81% from the United States, which is slightly down. It was 83% last year. And now we got a whole list of other countries that our listeners are also coming from. So Canada,
The UK,
South Africa,
Australia,
Cambodia,
Germany,
Spain,
Netherlands,
Mexico,
Sudan,
Switzerland,
Philippines,
UAE,
Japan,
India,
Ireland,
Israel,
Denmark,
Ghana, which is new this year,
Belgium,
Puerto Rico,
not really a country, Argentina,
Sweden,
Italy.
France. That's also new, but I'm kind of surprised by that
I
France would
was,
be new.
I was too. Nigeria,
Peru,
Romania,
Greece,
New Zealand,
Costa Rica,
Colombia,
Bahrain,
Bolivia,
Oman,
Czech Republic,
Brazil,
Poland,
Namibia. That one's also new.
Singapore,
Norway,
Russia,
Finland,
Turkey,
Austria,
Portugal,
Uganda, also new.
Zambia, which is new,
Pakistan,
Croatia,
Saudi Arabia.
Hong Kong is new. Kind of think that's part of China, but maybe not. TBD.
Isn't that a city in China or a province or something? Lithuania is also new.
Kenya is new.
Sierra Leone,
Kuwait,
Chile is new.
Morocco is new.
Malaysia is new.
Ukraine,
South Korea,
Dominican Republic,
Taiwan,
Iceland,
Jamaica,
Slovakia,
Malawi,
Indonesia,
Qatar is also new.
Uruguay,
Iraq,
Ecuador,
Thailand, also new.
Latvia, which is new.
Aruba, which is new.
Lebanon, which is new.
St. Kitts and Nevis,
Hungary,
Iran,
Republic of Moldova, new.
Fiji, which is new.
Maldives, which is new.
Paraguay, which is also new.
Algeria,
Vietnam,
Liechtenstein,
Mongolia,
the Faroe Islands, which is new.
Ethiopia,
Egypt.
Bulgaria, which is new.
Belize is new.
Zimbabwe is new.
Honduras is new.
Tanzania, which is new.
Kazakhstan is new.
Guatemala, which is new.
And we lost Bangladesh. Rip.
Oh, womp womp. So you don't have a, do you know how many that is? I mean, how many countries are there's about 100, right?
I think there's like 192 or something.
Oh, okay, closer to
Should,
200. Okay.
should I look it up? How many?
Well, I was just wondering how many you have. It would be cool if you kept a count of how many there were.
There's 195 countries.
Okay. But you don't know how many you're getting
I don't
on the
know.
pod.
Seems like at least like 70.
It's a number for sure. Okay, so moving on, breakdown by gender. This is on Spotify. It's 43% female, which is actually a surprising rise from last year, which was 31%. And then previously in 2021, it was 29%. And the previous year before that, it was 69%. So there's actually kind of a strange up and down there, actually. That's
I
very odd. I don't
totally,
understand that.
I totally agree. I was surprised by that. 43% female and 55% male, 2% non-binary. I knew it was more male. Personal finance, just more males are into it, kind of like true crime, more females are into it, you know? So I figured it would be
Mhm.
more male, but really female made a huge comeback. And I'm proud of that. I'm glad for that.
Right. I figured the same that the demographic would be majority male, but it's almost even. Okay, so moving to age breakdowns. This is also on Spotify. So starting at the bottom and going up, we got the 0 to 17-year-old range, 0.3%. So that's slightly up. It was 0% in 2022, 1% in 2021, and then 4% in 2020.
No crazy
So
change there. Really low.
no, it was significantly higher in 2020 though, relatively speaking. Okay, moving to my demographic, the 18 to 22, we got 5%. It was the same in 2022, and then in the year before that, 2021, it was 9%, and then it was 16% in 2020. So it has decreased there also.
Yeah, it seems like that's decreased as I get older. Just y'all just can't relate to me because like I'm old.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
That's just speculation though. No
Yeah.
proof.
I have no idea.
So the 23 to 27-year-old range is 14.5%. It was half that in 2022, but it was 38% in 2021 and 37% in 2020.
Yeah.
So again, a kind of a weird thing, a weird flip. I
Yeah.
don't I
Back
don't
and forth.
understand it.
Yeah, that's
Back and forth.
interesting. I know.
Okay. And then the largest demographic is about your age group, Lauren, except slightly younger almost.
I'm
The
in that age group.
28 the 28 to 34-year-olds at 36.8% this year. It was 44% in 2022, 24% in 2021, and 16% in 2020. That's pretty interesting to see these breakdowns because I'm surprised they changed so much.
It's
I
been
don't
four
know.
years. So imagine somebody's been listening since they were 27 or something. They're in the higher age group now, which is kind of interesting when you think about it.
So they're like aging up with you.
Maybe they're aging up with me.
That's funny. Okay. The 35 to 44-year-old group is at 26.5%. It was 34% in 2022, 20% in 2021, and 21% in 2020.
Yeah,
For
lots of
40,
stability from 2020 to 2021. Bigger changes in 2022 and 2023, it
that's
seems like.
true.
Yeah.
Oh, you think that's like COVID or something? I don't know.
No.
It's strange. I wonder why that is. 45 to 59-year-olds is 14.5% this year. Last year was 10%. In 2021, it was 7%. And then in 2020, it was 6%. So again, pretty similar between 21 and 20.
Yeah. But higher. Higher as it's
Higher,
ever
yeah.
been.
And then 60 years old and above is at 1.5%. That was at 0% in 2022, 1% in 2021, and also 1% in 2020.
Yeah.
So
So pretty,
that's not really
pretty low.
surprising. I don't know any 60 plus year olds who use Spotify. So
I don't know.
really,
Mom signed up for it recently, but I don't know if she's using it to its
she's
full
trying.
ability. No.
Yeah. All right. So now to break down where all of our listeners are coming from. Not country wise, but like what apps they're using. From Apple, we got 66%.
Is that surprising to
I'm
you?
surprised. I'm surprised. I figured Spotify would be Apple.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
no.
Spotify is 16%. I'm surprised by that
No,
because
Apple's huge for podcasts. Huge.
yeah, that's interesting. Okay, and then Overcast is 5%. Browser is 3%. Google Podcasts is also 3%. Castbox is 2%. Other is 5%. I couldn't even name an other. Like I don't even know what else there
Well,
is.
there's the Amazon, right?
Pandora?
And there was Stitcher, but Stitcher went away this year, I think. So I don't know. There you go.
That's interesting.
Okay, good
Yeah.
job. Very few mistakes on the countries compared to last year. If anybody remembers those bloopers, that was ridiculous.
You kept the bloopers in?
The bloopers are a full episode all by itself.
Oh no. I hope you got zero listeners on that one.
I could look it up. Somebody messaged me. It was like, I laughed out loud all the way to work listening to those bloopers.
Oh, that's nice. I'm glad I entertained somebody. Uh
Yeah,
no,
we did.
okay, the bloopers reel will be not as long this time, I
I
guess.
know. We probably don't even need its own episode, but last year we did. It was a lot of cursing.
Okay.
Um,
Hmm.
okay. So okay.
Those damn countries.
All
Uh,
right, let's get into the episodes then. So our first episode of the year, again, we did renumber them this year because we removed the Wealth Wednesdays, which were lives that I did with a group of friends every Wednesday from 2021 to 2022. So those are now pulled out. So 107 was the financial impacts of divorce with Chris from Heavy Metal Money. This guy's awesome. I've met him twice. He was at FinCon, so I hung out with him in person each of the last 2 years. He also came on House Money recently to help us out with some guest hosting and stuff. But I asked him to come on and say, hey, if it's not too traumatic, will you talk about divorce? Luckily, his verse wasn't too contentious, but he did outline the process and some of the effects. And naturally, it is a pretty vulnerable episode of Adulting is Easy.
wow, that's kind of something I've never considered really was what comes of your finances through divorce. It's very
Yeah.
niche.
All people say is like, it's expensive to get divorced. But like, what
Right.
does that mean is what I was wondering. So that was a good episode. All right. Do you know, Jenny, what house hacking is?
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Wow. I have failed. So house hacking is it's like what we're doing. You buy a property, live in part of it, rent the rest of it out. That's what I want you to do when you buy your first place.
Okay, I probably could have guessed that just context clues, but I figured it was more complex than that.
So I asked because episode 108 was value add house hacking with JT. Do you know what value add means in real estate?
No.
That's when you add value to the
Okay, I could have gotten both of those, I swear. I just never assumed it's that simple.
So he's done this with 3 different duplexes. So I'm trying to think if he lived in the one he was renovating. I think he lived in the one he was renovating, renovated it. As soon as it gets done, though, he moves to the other side and then rents the beautiful one out and then remodels it himself, like while he has a day job, nights and weekends. And he's done that with
Mm,
3 different duplexes.
wow. Hard work.
Right. But worth it. Like how he says it is he's like changing the trajectory of his family tree. I was like, whoa.
Mm, like multi-generational impact. That's
Yeah. And
crazy.
his son helps him. So his son's like 10, I think, and he helps him.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
it's cute. Okay. Episode 109, Fire Off the Grid with Steve on Speed. What does FIRE stand for, Jenny?
Oh, no, I don't remember.
I'm failing. Financial independence, retire early.
Yep, yeah, I remember that.
So Steve, he likes fast cars, which is why his name is Steve on Speed on Twitter. And I told him it should be Steve on Speed because you were like speeding towards early retirement. He's like, I like that. But he retired in his 30s with under $1 million. And him and his wife bought this off the grid place. I think it's in Arizona. It's out west somewhere. And it's like off the grid, like as in no electricity, like solar panels, gets his own water. It's crazy. It obviously it's also cheap that way.
What? So like no grocery stores, like he makes his own like food and stuff, like
He
gardens.
goes to the grocery store. I'm sure he maybe gardens, but like he goes to the grocery store, but it's like 45 minutes away. Like it's far.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It works for him, but I don't think it's for me, but it works for him.
No.
All right, episode 110 was the real estate agent perspective with my friend Chris Perry. He is one of the top real estate agents in the DC metro area. He sells like $20 million of real estate every year. It's insane. And if you do the math, if he's getting 3% of that, dude's balling.
Yeah.
So he's also really humble, really smart. Enjoyed that conversation. I always like to kind of get realtors' perspective, even though I'm not usually super generous with them on the podcast.
What does that mean?
Ah, realtors are hard. Like especially being an investor, real estate investor, not a lot of realtors are real estate investors.
Okay. So it's like completely different lines of work, just like
Yeah. Yeah.
no overlap,
Like they know how to
which is
like
kind of
buy and
ironic.
sell real estate, Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Okay. Number 111 was about getting paid in tips with Barbara. So she wrote this book called Tipped, which is about service industry professionals, which she calls SIPs, SIPS. If you think about it, it's a very interesting business because you have like no benefits. You have no PTO or anything like that, but you're also like crazy flexible. If you want to do something, like somebody can take your shift. If you want to just be off for a while, you can like quit. Maybe you can come back, or you can just go to a different business because you have these very easily transferable skills. So it's interesting. Like they're just their
Mm,
personal finance situation has to be handled a lot differently than like a typical W-2 employee.
okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. She's really cool. She was a stripper, among other things. So she had a really cool perspective.
Mm.
Okay, episode 112. It's not too late for real estate with Logan. So he lives in, I think it's Oklahoma. He's really cool. He's a hustler. He's young, mid 20s. He has an AC company, a bunch of rentals. He's a real hustler. But we were talking about interest rates this year. And Jenny, you're only 20, you're a mechanical engineering student. You're probably not as in tune with like business news and stuff as I was because I was in business school. But have you heard much about interest rates this year?
They're going up and they're not going down.
That's pretty accurate. So at the beginning of the year, they were going up and it was like shocking, right? Like we were still getting used to this idea of interest rates going up. I mean, I bought my first house, my interest rate was 3.375. That was in 2012. And the interest rate, the last fixed interest rate I got was in 2021 was 3.25. So very close, very similar in
Oh,
that whole time. So we've gotten very accustomed to that. Now, interest rates on an investment property, Jenny, are like 8.
mm,
Whoa. Whoa.
that
So
hurts.
a lot of people were wondering if they missed the boat, but that is a really good episode. It's actually one of the, I'm surprised it wasn't one of the top 5, but really popular. But basically the answer is no, it's not too late to invest in real estate. And Logan's really good at motivating you because he's such a hustler himself.
That's cool.
All right. 113, Eric came on and we talked about couples and finances. So we talked about separate, joint, and kind of a hybrid situation like we have with our finances.
Okay, that makes sense for Eric.
Yeah. All right. 114, self-managing 87 rentals with Jeff. So this guy has a bunch of 87. Did you get the number? He has a bunch of rentals in a blue state and then a bunch in Florida. And he definitely prefers the landlord friendlier laws here in Florida. Like if somebody doesn't pay, he can evict them. Like imagine.
He's self-managing. How's it? That's like not even possible. How is that
It's
physically possible?
Isn't it insane? Like 87. He has help. I mean, he has a team, he has
Crazy.
boots on the ground and stuff. But yeah, that's why if you haven't listened to that one, guys, it's pretty impressive that he's able to do that. Okay, episode 115, dividends with Dividend Dream. So Dream is an anonymous account, but she shares quite a bit about her personal portfolio on her YouTube channel and stuff. But there's something called PADI, which is your predicted annual dividend income for the year. So Jenny, instead of real estate paying you rent and cash flowing your life like me and Eric do, you could actually do what she does for the most part. She has one rental as well, but she has a portfolio that has all these dividend stocks and the dividends pay out or are projected to pay out $95,000 per year. Pretty cool.
How is it that much?
It's like $4 million worth of stocks or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we talked a lot about dividends. It's passive. Like, I don't think dividends like ever can't find the code, ever don't know where to park, ever have a clogged toilet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Episode 116, land flipping with Pete Reese. Do you know what flipping is?
Is that when you buy like a property that's in shambles and you like renovate it and make it good and then you sell it when it's top of the line? Something like
Yes.
that? Like on the
Did
TV shows?
yes. Did you know you can flip land?
I don't really know what that means.
You can get it off market, right? And you can be like, say it's worth 20, but somebody's willing to sell it to you for 10. You can just kind of flip it like that. But also what you can do is you can do stuff to it. You know, maybe get like a land survey or clear it or, stuff like that.
So what does he doesn't construct anything. He doesn't do anything to the
No.
land itself.
Well,
Okay.
sometimes he does some things, but yeah, for the most part, like, yeah, he's just flipping land.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
Okay.
Episode 117. This is one of the top 5. I think this is the top 1. Real estate as a side hustle with side hustle houses, whose name is Dave. Do you like British accents, Jenny?
No.
Yeah, I love him, and he's Dave is British, and so he has that accent on that one. So if you guys love those, listen to episode 117. But he gives us just a different perspective. He's a teacher, and teachers are not paid that well over there either. And he's using real estate to leave his job and talking about it, and really, really good perspective from him.
So he's not in America. He's
He is
in
not.
Britain.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay. So that would be an interesting perspective then.
Yeah. We had him on as a guest host for House Money recently also. Okay, number 118. I think this is not number 2, but also it's top 5. Friends, FOMO, and finances with Money with Katie. Jenny, what's FOMO?
Fear of missing out.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. So this is like
So
with social situations.
sure, but also just finances, like kind of in every way. And really, this is a really empathetic conversation, a really empathetic point of view from Katie. It's about giving yourself some grace when it comes to your friends. Like, you don't have to keep up, and you actually don't really know everybody's financial situation anyway. But this idea also, we talked about, a lot of people say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So they're like, people like, kick all your friends to the curb from childhood, get only like super awesome, like people that are these crazy career type friends. And, there's this like idea of that. And she and I talked about like, be the average of the top 5 empathetic people you spend time with. Be the average of the top 5 people with the best careers. Like, maybe, take things from different groups, and not everything has to be about like personal growth and money and success all the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Number 119 is cost segregation with Yona Weiss. And I'm not going to ask you, Jenny, what cost segregation is. I'm going to let you know that it's a federal income tax tool that increases your near-term cash flow by increasing which depreciation you can put on the books now, thus deferring your taxes until later. Do you know what depreciation is?
I don't think I could describe it.
So there's a depreciation that like I knew about as a kid, which is like your car falls in value over time. But there's an accounting trick in real estate. In real life, real estate for the most part goes up in value, right? For the most part.
Right.
There's exceptions, right? But on the books, the government allows you to take what your building is worth. If it's a single family home, you take what the building is worth, and then you divide it by 27 and a half, because you're allowed to depreciate it over 27 and a half years. And then you take that as a negative expense every single year. So it helps you, it helps you defer taxes, right? Because let's pretend like you made $5,000, but your depreciation was $5,000. You made 0, even though you got $5,000 from it. You recapture that later. When you sell, you have to pay capital gains tax on that depreciation later. But what cost segregation allows you to do is, instead of that 27.5, you can depreciate things quicker, which allows the depreciation to be bigger earlier on in the life.
So this refers to just like houses?
Also commercial buildings.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the commercial buildings, it's a 39-year time frame. So it's even longer. So it's even more important for like those kind of buildings. And this study tells you which stuff in your building can be depreciated at which levels.
Oof, that sounds complicated.
It is complicated. That's why I had Yona on to talk about it. So that's 119, guys. Okay, episode 120. This is called Go to the Investing Gym, but Don't Get an Investing Tattoo. With Colin, aka Decade Investor. He actually has the tattoo of a Vanguard index fund ticker on his leg.
Why?
I saw it in person.
Is it
He
good?
loves that. It just says VOO.
Is it big?
No, it's like on his knee. It's kind of small.
Okay.
So
He says don't get the investing tattoo. That's the episode name.
no,
Does that
that's what I
mean
called it. That's what I
you
called
don't
it.
want to get it?
Well, basically, what we're talking about is like investing is like, flexing muscles. Like it takes effort kind of until it becomes easier. But he's a huge fan of index funds and options. He has, I think at the time, he had maybe a $300,000 portfolio. I think he's up to a $400,000 portfolio. Really good at the age of 25, and he just takes all that info and makes it really simple and digestible.
That's pretty cool. At 25.
He has a girlfriend. Don't get any ideas.
Okay.
Just kidding. Just messing with you, Colin. Love you. Okay. Episode 121, Managing STRs while working full time with Bryce Garcia. What's an STR, Jenny?
I don't know.
I sent you this document like over a week ago, right?
I am scared. I don't know. I don't want to guess.
It's a short-term rental.
Okay. I knew that. I didn't want to be wrong.
So Bryce he works a remote sales job. He lives in Austin. And when he rents his Austin place out, because Austin is very strict short-term rental rules, you can rent your primary out. So like when that happens, he like leaves and rents his place out. So that's how he got into short-term rentals. But he recently also bought a place in Myrtle Beach. And so he just talks about how he kind of manages his portfolio while also working full-time, which I did for many years.
So he's following in your footsteps.
Yeah. I'm going to tell Bryce you said that.
Okay.
No, he would probably agree. Okay. Episode 122, Finding Passionate Income with Brian Lubin of the Action Academy podcast. So have you heard of passive income, Jenny?
Yes.
So he likes to talk about passionate income. So the old find something you like, but that also makes money.
Okay. So is that also passive?
Nope. Probably
Okay.
not. Probably not. That's a good one. Okay. Episode 123, House Hacking STRs with Mold with Brandon. You remember what house hacking and STRs are, Jenny?
Yes.
So this guy actually lives in Seminole Heights in Tampa, and he told me a story about his first house hack, which was a duplex, and like all the different things he went through. Like this was wrong, and this was wrong, and this was wrong, and like even though he had to fix all of these problems, he still did really well in the property, and so it was still like a pretty big success story. But I liked that one.
Mhm. That's tough if it has mold.
Yeah, but he remediated it. You can remediate mold as long as it's not black mold. And just because
Yeah.
mold is black doesn't make it black mold. Also,
Right. Like our parents did.
that was just regular mold. Like that wasn't, it's not
Oh.
black mold.
Oh,
Black
okay.
mold is like tear the house down.
Oh,
Theirs, it
really?
was like they had a leak for a short amount of time.
Black
And that was all.
mold, what is that the one you inhale and you die? It's like really bad.
I don't think it's that bad, but I don't think it's far off from that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Episode 124, NFL Players Side Hustle 2 with Devon Kennard. So Devon just retired from the NFL, but at the time he was still in it. And he was talking about he wanted to replace his NFL income, which league minimum is $1.2 million through real estate.
Hmm.
So he retired from the NFL. So I wonder if he did it since then. He's probably got pretty close.
That's pretty cool.
He's great. And so many NFL players are really bad with money. And he's really like the
Right, right.
antithesis
I
of that.
heard that,
Okay.
which is just so kind of ironic that they all go bankrupt.
Their taxes are huge too. Like, we talk about
Mm.
like a W-2 is a form that you get when you're an employee of a company. They're W-2 employees. So their income, they're like is taxed mostly at like 37% at least.
Yeah, that's insane.
And they've got state taxes stuff. Like the guys that live in California get really taxed.
Florida doesn't have a state tax though, right?
Right.
Okay.
Correct. All right. Episode 125 is called Optimize My Airbnb. Danny wrote a book about Airbnb. He was also an Airbnb employee, which was kind of cool. So he just shared some insights in general on the space and where he thinks it's going.
Cool.
Episode 126, Crying Over Debt to 1 Million Net Worth with Bernadette Joy.
Bernadette.
Her name is Bernadette, and she goes by Bernadette, like BERNADEBT. I thought it was so funny.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, she like paid off her house and everything, and she really has turned her life around. This is really a story about how personal finance is personal, and it can also be emotional, and now she helps people deal with some of those emotions as well.
Personal finance is truly personal.
Yes. All right. Episode 127. This is one of the top 5. Retiring from the 9 to 5 with Danny V. So Danny sold his online Amazon business, which allowed him to quit his job. And now he is starting more businesses with that time and money. Kind of cool.
What was his Amazon business? Like, what does that mean?
It's called FBA. Like when you fulfilled by Amazon. So like when you get Amazon packages, like they don't always come from Amazon.
Right. Okay. All right. I get it.
But they can come from people, but like also from Amazon. Like it's like fulfilled by Amazon means Amazon is sending that to people. But I guess they're sending Amazon the stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's also FBM, which is fulfilled by merchant, which means it comes directly from someone. But Amazon just becomes like the marketplace. All right. Episode 128, Managing STRs from Abroad. James and Emily started investing in real estate and were able to leave their jobs in less than 3 years from when they started. And Jenny, they started in 2017. They left their jobs in 2019 when they were 28 and 29 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So they're traveling the world and everything. They also snowbird down here in my town. So they hang out a lot.
Wow. So they just spend all their time traveling?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And they're both in really good shape too. Yeah.
That's your dream.
Okay. Episode 129, The Easy Way to Get Wealthy with the Wealth Dad. So do you know, Jenny, what the easiest way is to get wealthy?
Finding some form of passive income, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So index funds. So, which is about as passive as it gets. That's just like a collection of companies that you get to buy part of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So nothing much more passive than that. And he broke that down. And that's one of the top 5. Okay. Episode 130, Life in a Personal Finance Wind Tunnel with Sunny. This one was funny. She was once a professional tennis player, but now she's building financial independence through real estate. Do you like The Nightmare Before Christmas?
I love it.
You do? I think it's creepy,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the theme of one of her STRs. Isn't that cool?
That's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to watch that for Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm
okay.
into Tim Burton.
I'm not doing that. Okay, episode 131. This is also top 5. That's Budgets for Dummies with Athena. She wrote the book, Budgeting for Dummies. So I interviewed her about it, and we talked about these different kinds of budgets on that one. So that's one of the top 5.
Like the actual
yeah,
the dummies books. Oh, that's cool, actually.
Yeah, she wrote the book on it.
Cool.
All right, episode 132, Short-term rental arbitrage. Any idea what that is, Jenny?
Something about short-term rentals.
Yes, that's correct. It's when you rent a property from a landlord and then you furnish it and put it on Airbnb.
That's legal?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. As long as short-term rentals are legal and the landlord knows you're doing it, then yeah.
Is that like subleasing?
Yeah.
Okay. I get it. That's so odd.
Yep. So my friend Mike, he was the landlord to someone who was doing short-term rental arbitrage. She taught him about the business. And then when she was done doing it with his property, he Airbnb'd it. So a lot of people see the value from the arbitrager because they don't have to buy a property, but they can still have an Airbnb. But there was value on the landlord side in this story, which I thought was interesting. Okay. Episode 133, Retiring While Blind at age 32. So this is Adam, question for you, Jenny. What do you think there's a higher chance of? You dying or you becoming disabled?
Well, dying, there's 100% chance. So,
while you're working, while you're working age.
um, I'm not sure. Maybe probably becoming disabled then.
Yep. That's why a lot of people talk about life insurance. None enough people are talking about long-term disability insurance. So he ended up
Okay.
developing an eye condition, went blind, had long-term disability insurance. What he gets from his side hustle and the long-term disability insurance, he was able to quit working.
So life insurance wouldn't cover any of that.
No, because you're still alive.
Right. Okay. Hmm. That's interesting.
Yep. Episode 134, Success Mindsets. This was also Growth Guide, the Growth Guide podcast, episode 100. So we put it on both feeds. So Clint Murphy and I both posted this. I interviewed him about being a CFO, real estate investor, husband, father, fantasy writer, influencer, and more.
That's cool.
Pretty cool. Pretty successful dude.
Yeah.
He
Very
was
well
on-
rounded.
Oh yeah, geez, too much sometimes. I think I worry about him, but he was on the House Money podcast recently. Also, okay, episode 135: NFL player to house hacker to STR host. This is another one of my NFL friends. CJ told me all about his short-term rental journey, and he bought this new beautiful lake house property, and so we got to talk about that, and that was really like realizing a dream for him.
And that's a lake house property where he was living in part of it, and then part of it was an STR, or
He did house hacking before that.
okay, gotcha.
He's not house hacking the lake house. I mean, unless you count,
Cool.
like he probably uses it sometimes.
Okay.
Okay. Episode 136. Should you invest your emergency fund? What do you think, Jenny?
Yes.
Good.
Is it
This
yes?
so this was sponsored by Nexus, and I interviewed their founders as part of that. And in a way, the answer is yes. You shouldn't, in my opinion, and most people say this, like you shouldn't take your emergency fund and put it in like GameStop stock. Do you know what I
Is
mean?
it hard to access then?
It takes a little while to access, but also it can just be too volatile. So, you can even do things like invest in an ally account, a high yield savings account like you have, right? Like that can kind of be investing. That's better than it sitting in a regular checking account,
Okay. That's why I was kind of hesitant.
I know. Okay, this guy might be single, so I'm gonna try to set you up with him if you're down. Episode 137: serving tables, showing up, and hustling with the wealthy waiter. I didn't actually ask him if he's single, but like he's like your age. I think he's like 23, and he's like financially independent. He has like 17 condos. He started working during COVID when he was like 20, like your age, and like hustled his butt off and bought 17 condos, and now he's financially independent.
That's incredible, actually.
Yeah, he was adorable.
That's cool.
Okay, episode 138: wake up call with Justin from The Price of Avocado Toast. Dude, get this, Jenny. They inherited $600,000 and then somehow went through all of that and then into $200,000 of debt on top of that.
Ouch. That's like, I feel like that's like what we were talking about with the NFL, like players.
Yeah.
It like doesn't really matter how much money you have. It's just how you're using it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they told me kind of how they handled the emotions of all of that and dug themselves out. And now they're helping others that are in similar situations.
What's the avocado toast have to do with it?
Well, our generation, millennials, you may not be aware, but like we get a lot of flack for getting avocado toast because it's like
I thought that
expensive.
was my generation, actually.
I think it's mine. I'm not sure, but
okay.
it's all about that. Like, if you're gonna upgrade your life, like if what's the cost of that?
Okay. I gotcha.
All right, 139 is the future of short-term rentals. This was sponsored by Summer, and I interviewed Paul, their CEO, and he gave me some great takes on the future of short-term rentals. Have you heard of, Jenny, the Airbnb bust?
I'm guessing just from context clues, I'm guessing it's because some Airbnbs aren't doing as well, and there was like, I don't know if this is true, but there was just too much supply and like not enough demand or something like that, or
Yeah.
a lot of people tried to do some startups and they just didn't pan out and they fizzled out. I don't know. That's my guess.
Yeah, that's the idea. Like a lot of people we're getting into the space and they're saying, is it oversaturated? How are people doing? What have you? So we talked about that as well. So
Okay.
139 to get Paul's take on that. Episode 140, this is about online businesses with Eric. So this was a really interesting story, and I'm glad I got to do this interview. He was kind of open with his journey about running his own business. So he didn't have a lot of specific goals. So he was just like, he had a business, he was running it, but it was also like his job. And he's just going through everyday life, kind of just working in this business. And then there's this thing in business, like you can work in your business or you can work on it. And so it's only been in the last couple of years that he's tried to remove himself from the business and think about it strategically. And it's been really hard for him to do, harder than he thought it would be. And I think he sort of wishes he did it sooner, but he's glad he did it at all, kind of a thing.
Cool.
Good story. Episode 141, short-term rental cleaners with Chris K. So your cleaner is the most important part of your short-term rental business. Guests need everything to be clean. It's like not optional. So he gave great advice as it relates to finding, training, and keeping your cleaners. That's a really good episode if you're an STR operator or you're thinking about getting into it.
Right. Because I heard that a lot from you is there's a lot of difficulty with the cleaners sometimes.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. I'm getting a lot better at training them really quickly and stuff, which is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, episode 142, investing for your kids with Budget Dog. So Brennan, he calls himself Budget Dog. There's many ways to invest for your kids. He told me how he does it. He has a 2-year-old now. At the time his wife was pregnant. She's since had the baby, but he told me how he does it. And he's kind of a fan of like a brokerage account versus an education account or an UTMA or an UGMA, all these different ways that you can invest. But definitely recommend that one for people that are thinking about investing for their young kids.
Okay. Would that be like when dad set up like Florida prepaid for you or something when you were born?
Sure, but I think Budget Dog would say you should have just bought stocks for me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah.
Well, that did work out because it appreciated, right? Or
Well, the
I don't know
cost
how it
went up.
worked.
The cost of college went up. Yeah, I think it worked out really well for you
Right, yeah.
since you got my Florida prepaid.
All right.
I
You
don't know how
didn't
much it
need
worked
it.
out for me. The big thing about investing for your kids is you have to have your retirement in order first. You know what I mean? Like your kids have time to invest for themselves. They can take on student loans if they need to and then they have time to kind of catch back up. If you don't
Right.
have retirement, you don't have time. You can't take a retirement loan. Be like, I'm going to borrow this for retirement, then I'm going to pay it back like you can for school.
Gotcha.
Episode 143, dividends with Dividend Dave. So I walked out of this one knowing dividends are probably the most passive form of investment there could possibly be. You know?
Right. That and index funds?
Well, yeah, there could be dividends in index funds.
Okay.
He runs the Passive Income podcast. So episode 144 was entrepreneurial mindset and a dog resort abroad. So did you meet Joe when we were in Hudson, who owns the duplex next door?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I didn't know he was there when we were there. But anyways, he has some amazing entrepreneurial stories. And like how he got into short-term rentals was like a resort for dogs in like Thailand or something. It's crazy. Like really cool stories and just a really fun to pick the brain of this entrepreneurial minded guy.
That's like so random.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Episode 145, entrepreneurial misadventures to six-figure W-2 with Andres. So this is another young guy. He told me like he was making so much money, like flipping sneakers and then creating online bots to help people flip sneakers and flip them. Like made a ton of money, and then like it all bottomed out. So now he's taking it a little slower, right? Working a high-paying W-2 job, working on his side hustles, and trying to take his wealth building a little slower than he was initially.
Okay. So he's learned to pace himself.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Episode 146, 6x your returns with credit card rewards. So Chris is actually a friend of Eric's. He's in the same field. And the point of this is like with credit cards, you can get like 1% cash back, right? But if you do it right, you kind of can get like 6% cash back. And he talked about all these different ways to do that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I am not utilizing my credit cards properly.
Well, all I know is like the quarterly, like how much you get more cash back for like certain things,
Well, and so
like
it depends on the
gasoline and
card.
groceries and stuff.
Yeah, it depends
Oh,
on the
okay.
card. Yeah, depends on the
Right.
card.
Yeah. That's the only thing I'm aware of, at least.
Yeah, your card is like that. Yeah. But basically, it's like you can use different cards for different things and get more. Okay, episode 147, 51K in debt to house hacking and financially free. So the debt-free guys, they are a couple. They wanted to buy a vacation home one day. And then as they talked through everything, they realized not only could they not afford a vacation home, they couldn't even really afford a vacation. That was a hard conversation for them to have. So they dug themselves out of that debt. They got a little bit back into debt and they dug themselves back out. And now they tell their story about, how they made the changes that they made, and they teach others how to do it as well.
That's really cool. Good for them.
148, $1 million by 30 with Alan Corey. So this is my business partner at House Money Media. He's a comedian, writer, reality star, realtor, investor, father, and husband based in Atlanta, Georgia. So this episode focuses on his first book and how to get $1 million by 30. He has since written 2 other books.
He's got quite a few titles there too, like Clint.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on.
That's funny.
Yeah. Episode 149, personal finance is personal, and so is investing with Mark, aka Dividend Seeker. Mark is a CPA, but he also works with a lot of clients on their finances, and he told me some of the advice that he tells them. Episode 150, this was a replay of episode 87. So as a celebrate 150 episodes, I replayed the most popular one from 2 years before that, which is about how to get direct bookings for your Airbnbs on Facebook. I'll probably do the same thing next year with one of these ones. All right, episode 151, our financial system runs on bonds with uncommon yield. Do you know what bonds are? Okay. Do you know what bonds are?
I think Uncle Lee gave me like a bond for my birthday or something. That's all I know. I don't think they're very common, very popular, but
yeah, he gave you a savings bond. So generally bonds, the ones that I'm talking about, are the types where a company or a government allows you to buy a bond, but really you're loaning them money. So let's say you're a government entity, Jenny, and you need $10,000. You would sell 10 $1,000 bonds to people, thus getting $10,000, but then you owe them an interest rate. So say 5% on them until they mature. Does that make sense?
So what's the use of that? I mean, is that like popular? Is it common?
It depends. I mean, they're more popular now. The way interest rates have gone. I mean, like in 2020, you could get 0% on a bond. So there's no reason to buy a bond. Why would I give you $1,000 for you to pay me nothing?
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
But I'd give you $1,000 to pay me, say, 5% for 10 years, rather than putting it in the stock market and getting 10 and -5 and 20 and 7.
Okay.
And, that's kind of the point. It's safer and it's more predictable because of that. You can also buy bonds from other people. Or let's say I bought a $1,000 bond from you and I need the $1,000. I can sell that bond to somebody else. But if interest rates have changed, then that bond is worth a different amount of money. So if interest rates, if you're paying 5% and new bonds are paying 6%, how much do you think I can sell your bond for? More than 1,000 or less than 1,000? If you're paying 5 and somebody else is paying 6.
Less than 1,000.
Yes, exactly. So, but there is a secondary market for bonds anyways. Gotcha. And there's index funds and stuff for those too. All right, episode 152, mobile homes may be the future of affordable housing. Do you know what seller financing is? It's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah. All these terms are just like on their face. You know exactly what they are. I've definitely heard of it.
Yeah. So seller financing is instead of like you want to buy my house from me, you go to a bank, get a loan, the bank pays me, and then you pay the bank. We can skip the bank and you can just pay me. That's what we
Okay.
do with our
Yeah.
building in Cedar Key. Um, Rachel talks a lot about how she seller finances these mobile homes to people. Mobile homes are kind of hard to get insurance for, and they're kind of hard to get financing for. So kind of really a lot of times the only way you can even sell them is through seller financing.
Right.
Do you know
Yeah. I
what?
mean, I understand why it'd be hard to get them insured, especially in Florida. I
Yeah,
mean,
obviously,
yeah,
everything's a nightmare here. Do you know what wholesaling is in real
I
estate?
do not.
So that's when you get something under contract, say a mobile home. So you get a mobile home under contract to buy it from somebody for $5,000. And then you turn around and somebody wants to buy it from you for $8,000. Then you can make the difference. That's wholesaling. You never actually own the property. You sort of just at one point had the contract on it.
Okay, that's interesting.
So she makes money seller financing and wholesaling mobile homes.
Cool.
All right, episode 153, doing your first deal with your family. So Brett owns his own townhouse and his grandma owned a home when she met his grandpa. Okay. So his grandpa had never bought a home, which is kind of interesting. So he just bought a rental with his grandparents and it was his grandpa's first home purchase. Isn't that kind of cute?
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
So they're all kind of doing their first rental property together.
That's really cool. Well, I
Yeah.
hope that goes good. I feel like family and business don't always mix, but I hope it goes well.
So far, so good, he said. I checked with him after that came out. 154, small business exit to accredited investor and beyond. Do you know what an accredited investor is? I don't really think a lot of people do.
Sounds like an investor with awards.
I know, right? Like, so nothing actually happens when I can just tell you, Jenny, I am an accredited investor, and voila, I am. And what does that mean?
Okay.
It means you make $250,000 a year, or you have over $1 million net worth, basically, or $1 million invested.
Okay, so like a
So,
high level investor. It's like exactly what
yes,
it sounds like.
yeah, exactly. Which I am an accredited investor, right? But there's some things you're not allowed to invest in unless you're an accredited investor because they're risky. So that's
Okay.
the idea. Like
So they need to ensure that you know what you're doing.
yeah, they don't want people to get taken advantage of by scammers, kind
Gotcha.
of, right? So anyway, so she wanted to be an accredited investor, just kind of to have that title, if you will. So Trina went from working as a barista and doing landscaping on the side, getting her clients from her barista job in some cases, and made it a whole business and then sold it. So now she's an accredited investor and she's working on retiring completely.
That's
Kind of cool.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's really cool.
There's a lot
So
of these like
154.
coming up stories that are really cool.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of these people you interviewed. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Super cool. Good bunch of people. Episode 155. We got just a few more here. We're nerding out over Airbnb stock. So my friend Brad loves stocks more than anybody I know. He calls himself stock market nerd. And so we discussed kind of stocks in general, what they are. But of course, we had to go pretty deep on Airbnb. He owns some Airbnb in his portfolio. He has some pretty concrete ideas about it. And of course, I have my own ideas about Airbnb as a company. So that's what that one's about.
That's cool. Did you like not agree on everything? What'd you say?
No, I would say we agreed.
Oh, okay,
It was
cool.
a good discussion, though.
Yeah.
156, financial independence doesn't have to be extreme. So back to what FIRE is, financial independence, retire early. You can just kind of stop before the retire early. Like you can just hit financial independence and keep working if you want, right? But
Right.
also, so that's just general financial independence. But what's hard and what we see a lot in the FIRE movement is people sacrificing a lot of today for later. And so she and I talked about how to keep everything balanced and how to enjoy today while still working towards your future.
Right. Well, I kind of feel that a little bit less financially. I mean, a little bit financially, but just like just being in college and just, busting my butt, like just trying to do well in this degree. And then you see other
Yeah.
people who are in like, who are majoring in like, underwater basket weaving and stuff. And like
Yeah.
they're just having the time of their lives at
Yeah.
UF, it's like,
Right. Well, that's a really good analogy because that is what it's like to be
right.
saving money in your
It's
20s.
about the payoff. Yeah.
All right, episode 157, regulating personal finance influencers with Tom, the savings captain. So Tom has a lot of experience in the regulated financial space, like being a broker and things like that. So I had to ask him about, should they regulate personal finance influencers? They regulate financial advisors. Should they regulate us? And what do you think he said?
No, I would hope he said no.
He did say no. He
Okay.
did say no.
That's good. That's good news.
All right. So that was 157. Episode 158 is this one.
You've come
Yay.
so far.
The best one ever.
The
Okay.
most
So,
bloopery one.
so let me just tell you guys again what the top 5 are in case you're interested in what other people have liked. 117, real estate as a side hustle with side hustle houses. 118, friends, FOMO, and finances with money with Katie. 127, retiring from the 9 to 5 with Danny V. 129, the easy way to get wealthy with Wealth Dad. 131, budgets for dummies with Athena. So those are the top 5 if you want to go back. I also want to tell you about guest appearances that I had over the year. Yokira Dinero, Money Happy Hour, Money Tales, the Passive Income Podcast, and the Growth Guide. I didn't document them all that well this year, but there's some places where you can hear me be a guest. Some of the highlights for Adulting is Easy this year. I was nominated for Best Real Estate Content from the Plutus Awards. That was pretty cool. I spoke on a panel at FinCon 2023 in New Orleans. And I also want to do a huge thanks to TouchStay for their sponsorship. They sponsored a ton of episodes this year. Steadily Landlord Insurance as well, and also Nexus and Summer, who I mentioned. If you want to sponsor the podcast, let me know. You can follow me on Twitter at Adulting is Easy. I'm on YouTube at Adulting is Easy, and Instagram Adulting is Easy Real. Managing money is a huge part of adulting, so go back and listen to the episodes that appeal to you. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Hopefully, we've made adulting a little easier for you.
Okay, that's weird. Okay. All right, I think I'm good.
Okay. I like your Tom Petty flag.
Yes, thank you. I like it. All right,
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right.
Oh, did you see Dad got an adult kids meal?
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
No, it's like a specialty thing. It's just gonna happen for, well, I don't know, until they run out, which I'm kind of surprised they haven't run out yet because I think it started a few days ago. But
Wow. Okay.
I don't know.
Well, it
Pretty
should be
funny.
a thing. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. All right, our goal for today is to make, nope, it's not our goal.
St. Kitts and Nevis, Hungary?
That's
Is that one thing? I'm so confused.
It's not.
Oh Jesus. Okay, let me try that again. What? So it's called what is it? St. Kitts
I
and Nevis.
I
That's
think
the
it's
thing?
neat. I think it's Nevis.
Oh Christ. But that's the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
St. Kitts and Nevis. Okay, sorry. Okay, right here, I got it. Tanzania is new.
I think it's Tanzania.
Is this the Jeff I know?
No,
Is this a
different
different
Jeff.
Jeff?
Different
Oh,
Jeff.
okay. I wonder how he's doing.
You think that Jeff is 87 rentals?
I didn't think so, but like that was the only one I knew. So
That's funny.
that's what the
Jenny?
uh-oh.
Oh, are you
Can
there?
you hear me?
Yeah.
You like froze. I don't know why.
Why are you moving that so much?
You read my part.
I know. Sorry.
You hate me.
Whatever.
What
It's
do you
my
think?
podcast.